Well, it's Tuesday, my friends, and it's time for a knife review. A traditional knife review on Traditional Tuesday. Stay tuned. Hi, gang. Rob here. It is the evening of 18 March 2014, and I've got this will probably be kind of a short review. It's kind of an initial review of a Great Eastern Cutlery model that I am super excited to own. It's a new one, a new traditional. Does that make sense? But it is. This is a number 47 pattern from Great Eastern Cutlery, part of their Northfield UN-X-LD line. If I turn this over so you can read the shield, right side up, you'll see that. An interesting interesting bit of new life breathed into the number 47 pattern, previously exclusively inhabited by the Hay and Helper, a Delrin handled hawkbill sort of farmer's knife. I believe because GEC wanted to come out with a swayback Wharncliffe knife in a pretty good size, they just decided to go ahead and use their number 47 frame, sort of accentuate the swayback shape of the handle, and drop in one of the most wicked Wharncliffe blades I have ever seen in a slip joint traditional. Wow. They call this knife the number 47 Viper. Kind of funny when traditional knife companies try to sound cool, isn't it? Haven't we called enough things Viper in the last 20 years? But you know what? If there's ever been a knife that deserves that name, this has got to be it, doesn't it? Oh, Jiminy, what a beauty. So what do we got here? We have a traditional knife, brass lined, nickel silver bolstered, beautiful red burnt sienna jigged bone handles with a very cool jigging pattern, brass liners, brass lanyard tube, no bolster at the butt, swayback design. The handle's 3 3/4 inches long. The blade is, I measure it a hair over 3 inches. I can't quite call it 3 1/16, but it is over 3 inches long. 1095 plain carbon steel. As with all Northfield UN-X-LD GECs, it is mirror polished, at least pretty close to mirror polished. And as with most Great Eastern Cutlery knives, it comes edge ready. Of course, their blades heat treated by Peter's Heat Treat, and they are well done. They don't come extremely sharp. The edge doesn't come very precisely ground, but if you notice, this one is, yeah, it's Mr. Edge Pro here at the sharpening bench. And guys, this is a sharp knife, and it's sharp all the way to that splinter digging, surgery performing tip. And this is super thin behind the edge. I'm going to say, with my freshly calibrated digital meaning fingers, digital caliper, we're about, I'm going to say 13 to 15 thousandths of an inch behind the edge. As with most of my traditionals, when I sharpen them on the Edge Pro, I just do it 18 degrees all to the edge, no micro bevel, no secondary. They're so darn thin, there's really no point in it. Isn't that blade gorgeous? Look at that swedge on the top. Goes just from right behind the nail nick all the way to the tip. I think this knife looks great in titty trim also with the satin blade. It kind of shows off that profile, maybe even better than the mirror polish. I'm sorry guys, I got to keep wiping. You know how I am about fingerprints. Yeah, my thumb, any of you were worried about me? if you're watching my videos today, you're going to see two of them right together. This one in the Chapter 3 in the Knives of Alaska Featherlight Hunter, as I was totally destroying that knife in a review, the final review, the third chance for Knives of Alaska to get it right. It reached out and touched me badly. But we got the bleeding stopped. Let's go back to talking about the Viper. Before I get into how this thing's constructed and some of the particulars, I just wanted to give you an idea. Normally we see these Wharncliffes in traditionals, and they're pretty small knives, aren't they? But I'm going to give you a size comparison here between the Viper and some knives that we know that are pretty familiar to us these days. You know what? I'm going to do this vertically so you guys can, so the camera perspective doesn't skew your ability to see how large this is. As I said, a 3 3/4 inches handle and a 3-inch blade, so that's a tick over 6 3/4 inches total length. And I'm going to set these knives up so the butts are even, and this of course is the Ontario Rat Model 2. It might be less than 1/8 of an inch longer. And then on the other side, I'm going to set up the Benchmade 940, which should be significantly longer. But still, that's a pretty darn good size Wharncliffe, isn't it? I mean, you've got almost 2 3/4 inches of cutting edge there, and it is dead straight, isn't it? I will say this. When GEC makes a Wharncliffe, they make it straight. And I had to remove very little material to true that edge up. It's really something else. If you've looked at the case swayback jack, for instance, that edge isn't straight. If you want it straight, you're going to be there a while. This thing is amazing. And another big advantage is I'm going to do a video soon kind of comparing the strengths and weaknesses of case knives and GEC knives. You'll not find a point like that on a case. And although I've dressed mine a little bit and sharpened it my way all the way to the point, it was needle-like out of the box, guys. So we've got a pretty stout back spring, but not overly so. It doesn't rip your thumbnail. It's got a really positive half stop. Great walk and talk for such a small, lean blade, I think. Nice and thin in pocket. Beautiful transitions. I mean, really nice. I can feel just a little bit where the burnt sienna covers meet the liners and the back springs, but ooh. And GEC, if they have a weak point, it is transitions between cover and bolster. This might be the best one I've got. I can feel them just a little right at the corners, but not bad at all. As you can see, we've got 3 rivets holding this knife together, one up front. Well, actually there's one under the bolster, one through the bolster also, one up front, one up here, one that is also the back spring pivot. Probably not an overly strong knife, but doesn't need to be. Certainly not Barlow strong, but it's kind of a light duty knife, isn't it? And isn't it gorgeous? Guys, if you're not if you tactical knife guys haven't awakened to the traditional knife renaissance that's going on right now, it's time. And Great Eastern Cutlery is at the forefront. They're just building unbelievable traditional knives. I sort of let these Vipers sit for a month or so after they came out. I wasn't sure if I wanted to wasn't sure if I wanted to buy another brand new model of traditional knife. You know, I bought a Fremont Jack a few months ago, bought a Madison Barlow from Derek at Knife Ship Free, and I really wanted to sort of go back in time and buy some older patterns, and this thing just kept calling me like a siren. Had to have it. And I'm so glad I did. It might be the favorite traditional knife I own. Just thought you guys would like to see it in stunning HD. Watch this one on your big screen, guys. This knife is worth it. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp. Have a good night.